Joining me now, John Bolton, Senior Fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, a former ambassador to the United Nations, Fox News contributor, and Ambassador, thanks for being with us.
Glad to be with you.
This is a cabinet and national security team that appears divided. At least Nikki Haley, the UN ambassador, agrees with the campaign position of President Trump that the deal is a bad one and should be abrogated, forthwith. Mattis, Tillerson, obviously making it clear that they think it's still in the national interest. This is a bizarre, if you will, divide, and I don't think that it's readily understandable, certainly not to me, I don't believe to most people, as to why there would be that cleavage.
Well, even worse, Lou, according to the reports we've seen, they're going to recommend, Sarah Huckabee Sanders said, make a unified recommendation on what to do, and they're leaking assiduously what the decision is, I think, to box the president in to try and reduce his room to maneuver. And the solution they've proposed is utterly bizarre. Contrary to the rhetoric about getting out of the deal, that is not what they are suggesting. They're suggesting that he not certify under the separate Corker-Cardin legislation that the deal's in the best interest of the United States, but nonetheless stay in the deal. Now, that is utterly illogical. It's a one-shoe-on, one-shoe-off approach, but the adherence of the deal—
Very Washingtonian, wouldn't you say?
You got it. Yeah, it's swampy. The adherence of the deal and the bureaucracy, the people who helped negotiate it, are desperate to save it. And so they've come up with this bizarre, internally contradictory, illogical approach. Frankly, it's not presidential. It's unbecoming that it would be suggested to him. I hope the president rejects it. Look, we've got to be clear. The president has to assert moral and political autonomy. He needs to abrogate the deal, withdraw the United States from it. How can you say that the deal is not in the best interest of the United States and stay in the deal? How in God's name can you do that?
Worked for some time in the bureaucracy of Washington, D.C.
Precisely.
Or most especially within the State Department itself.
Take out your saber, Mr. President, cut the Gordian knot, get out of the deal.
Let's turn to North Korea. And this is the president, just moments ago, having dinner with his military advisors tonight. Here is the president on North Korea.
In North Korea, our goal is denuclearization. We cannot allow this dictatorship to threaten our nation or our allies with unimaginable loss of life. We will do what we must do to prevent that from happening, and it will be done if necessary, believe me.
Your reaction, Ambassador?
That's exactly right. That's exactly the right policy. It's what the president said in his speech to the UN General Assembly some days ago. And the meaning of that statement is he wants an end result where North Korea does not have a nuclear weapons capability. He rejects the Obama administration strategy articulated by his national security advisor, Susan Rice, who says we should live with a North Korea with nuclear weapons. I think that's a disastrous policy. The president's right to reject it. And by the way, he would be right to reject it in the case of Iran, too. You cannot leave these rogue regimes with these destructive weapons.
It's almost unthinkable to contemplate Iran, the largest state sponsor of radical Islamist terrorism in the world, with nuclear weapons. It doesn't take a genius to come up with a straight line to the catastrophe that would result.
Yeah, and, by the way, as we've just discussed the Iran nuclear deal, Iranian scientists, military officers, technicians continue to cooperate with North Korea on its ballistic missile program. The purpose of both is to deliver nuclear weapons. Who's kidding whom here about what Iran is up to?
Tillerson, Mattis jumping the president and getting well forward of him and putting out his position to a senior that insisted that he give a yes or no answer. Are you disappointed in Tillerson, in Mattis, and the way in which they have handled the discussion on the Iranian deal?
I think the bureaucracy is dominating this deal. I don't know what the discussions have been with the president. Of course, I tried to see him. I haven't been able to. I've asked again today to see him. We'll see what happens. But honestly, you need to have a thorough discussion of nuclear proliferation and its effects. Because I'll tell you, Lou, if, as appears likely, North Korea and Iran both end up with deliverable nuclear weapons, proliferation will spread at an even more rapid rate than we've seen before. And the spread of these nuclear weapons around the world increases dramatically the risks. They'll fall into the hands of terrorist groups, and we're going to see one in the United States.
And we need to recognize as we wrap up here that three administrations, the Clinton administration, the Bush administration, and the Obama administration, had absolutely horrid policies and results, and in effect deferred a decision that now rests with this president, and it is a burdensome and complex one to resolve.
Yeah, no, it's been three administrations of failure, and I hope Trump doesn't make it a fourth.
Ambassador John Bolton, thanks. Good to have you here.